Okay, so let's get right into it. Today we're looking at a kind of postmortem. It's technically an examiner's report for a senior business exam, the Strategic Business Leader session from late 2025, but honestly,
It reads like a crime scene investigation.
it really does, a crime scene of critical thinking.
Yeah.
You've got thousands of people all pretending to be senior analysts for this fictional hotel chain, and the mistakes they're making,
Yeah.
they aren't just student errors.
No, not at all. These are the exact same cognitive shortcuts, the same mental traps you see in real boardrooms every day.
We're talking about smart people under pressure, just losing their critical faculties.
That's the key. And that's why we're doing this. We aren't here to, prep you for a test. We're using this report as a kind of mirror.
Right.
The whole scenario is built around this company, Lovewell. They're a chain of high-end 4-star hotels in a fictional country called Estland.
And they're looking to acquire a competitor, a company called Dulit Hotels. So for you listening, you need to imagine you are that senior business analyst. You're the one advising the board on this deal, and this report just dissects where everyone failed.
And some of these failures are, they're spectacular.
They really are. We're going to trace the collapse from these basic mechanical errors through to kind of technical blindness, and then right down to what I'd call career-ending failures of emotional intelligence.
It's a genuine masterclass in how to completely lose your credibility in a corporate setting.
So let's start with that first trap. The report calls it Task 1A, but I'm calling it the zombie copy-paste.
A good name for it.
The scenario is simple. Lovewell wants to buy Dulit. Is it a good idea?
Pretty straightforward M&A analysis. You get the data, you get the financials, and you get an email from the chair of the target company, Dulit.
And this is exactly where the brain just shuts down. The candidates took the email from the Dulit chair, who obviously calls his own company We,
Of course.
and they pasted huge chunks of it directly into their report for the Lovewell CEO.
It creates this bizarre identity crisis. You're writing to the buyer, but you're sounding like the seller.
Like, we have great growth potential.
Right. But who is we? It's clumsy, sure. But the real problem here isn't just the grammar, is it?
No.
It's a total lack of synthesis. If you're copy-pasting, you're not thinking. You're just acting like a router, just moving data packets from A to B.
Which bleeds right into the next part, the data analysis. The report said people were just listing stats like revenue dropped 0.4% and then just stopping.
The great so what failure.
I see this in meetings all the time. Someone puts a chart on the screen, reads the numbers off the slide, and then sits down.
It's infuriating. I can read the slide. I need you to tell me what it means.
Exactly.
That 0.4% drop isn't just a number. Is it a one-off blip? Or is it a sign the whole brand is starting to rot? If you just do the math, you're a calculator. If you explain the implication, then you're an analyst.
That distinction is everything, and it links right into this idea of skepticism. I feel like people just think professional skepticism means being a contrarian.
The question dump.
Yes, the question dump. The report says candidates were just listing questions for the board to answer.
Which is lazy. A board director doesn't pay you to ask them questions they don't know the answer to. They pay you to form a judgment.
So don't ask, should we worry about the high gearing?
State the risk. The high gearing limits our ability to borrow for future renovations. That is skepticism. It challenges the optimism of the deal with a concrete fact.
So it's that shift from I don't know to here is the risk.
Oh.
Okay, speaking of risk, let's talk money. Segment 2, the financial literacy gap. And specifically, what you called the profit confusion.
This one really scares me because it's so fundamental. So many candidates looked at the target company, Dulit, saw a drop in operating profit, and blamed it on interest payments.
Which is physically impossible.
It is impossible. Operating profit is EBIT, earnings before interest and tax. Interest comes out afterwards.
It's like blaming your hangover on the lunch you haven't eaten yet. The sequence is wrong.
That's actually a perfect analogy, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The interest line item is below the operating line item. One cannot affect the other. But people saw high interest and low profit and just drew a line between them without thinking.
That's alarming for someone in a senior analyst role, but they also tripped up on financing the deal. In Task 2A, Lovewell needs cash. They could get a loan or do a rights issue.
And here we go. We hit the gearing myth.
Okay, wait, let me remember my ratios. Gearing is debt over equity. So if you do a rights issue, you're bringing in cash for new shares.
Correct. You're pumping up the equity side of the equation.
So the denominator gets bigger, which means the ratio has to go down. Mathematically, it makes the company safer. How did they argue it has no effect?
That's the mystery. They'd memorized some rule. Equity is good, but they forgot the mechanics. They just claimed a rights issue doesn't change gearing, which is objectively false. And they also argued it always protects control.
But it only protects control if you actually have the money to buy the new shares yourself.
Precisely. If you can't afford to take up your rights, your stake gets diluted. It's a nuance, but strategy is all about nuance. If you treat these things like absolute unbreakable rules, you're going to get the wrong answer.
And then there was the flip problem. This one made me laugh. I've definitely done this in an essay to hit a word count.
Oh, we all have. This is where you list interest payments as a disadvantage of a loan.
Right.
And then, for your very next point, you list no interest payments as an advantage of equity.
It's the same point.
It is the exact same point, just flipped on its head. You don't get credit for saying it's raining and then also saying it's not sunny.
Yeah.
It just shows you're running on fumes.
Okay, so we've got the mechanical failures, the financial blind spots. Now for what you called strategic myopia. This is our third segment. This is where people just solved the wrong problem.
This was in Task 2B. They were asked to evaluate stakeholder power and interest regarding the acquisition of Dulit hotels.
The word acquisition is the key there, isn't it?
It is. But instead, candidates just started analyzing stakeholders' guests, employees, in relation to daily hotel operations.
They went micro when the CEO asked for macro.
Exactly. The question was about a takeover, shareholder battles, union pushback, regulatory hurdles. But the candidates were worried about whether the room service toast was cold.
Or if the sheets were clean.
Yeah. It's what you might call the operational comfort zone. They solved the easy problem they knew instead of the hard one they were asked.
And that renders the analysis completely useless.
Completely. If I'm buying a company, I need to know if the staff are going to strike, not if they're polite at the front desk. And that leads to the other mistake, the aggregation error.
Lumping everyone together.
They just lumped all employees into one big group.
Which is fatal in a merger.
It is. You have Level staff, the buyers, they might be feeling confident, maybe a bit worried about a culture clash. Then you have the Dulit staff, the target. They are likely terrified of being made redundant.
Their interests are completely opposed.
Diametrically opposed. Lumping them together as employees just misses the entire human tension of the deal.
It's lazy analysis. It treats people like a single block. And speaking of treating people like furniture, what about the integration risks?
Oh, yes.
The scenario involved mitigating risk after the deal. What did people suggest?
Well, a lot of them suggested moving staff from Dulit hotels over to Levwell hotels to, help with integration.
So why is that a problem? Companies transfer people all the time.
But in this specific case, you have to look at the geography. The prompt made it clear these hotel chains operate in different locations and they're hotels. You can't just commute 400 miles to go wait tables at the other branch. It was a practical impossibility.
It sounded good on paper, but made no sense in reality.
It's like they weren't picturing actual human beings.
And then, of course, there was the tech solution.
The magic wand.
Cloud computing.
Of course, cloud computing. It's the new buzzword answer.
Yeah.
There were some integration issues with the hotel management system, the HMS, and candidates just wrote, use cloud computing.
With no explanation.
No explanation of why. No explanation of how it fixes the specific software mismatch. Just put it in the cloud.
It's the business equivalent of saying just add AI.
It is. Technology is a tool, not a magic spell. If you can't explain how the tool fixes the specific problem in front of you, you aren't analyzing. You're just dropping buzzwords.
Okay, so we've seen the zombie copy-paste, the bad math, the strategic blindness, but now we get to the final and maybe the most cringeworthy segment. Segment 4, professionalism and reading the room. This is where careers are made or broken.
This is the EQ failure. And honestly, this is the one that gets you fired the fastest.
So the scenario in Task 3A was about change management. The CEO specifically asked for ways to support staff during the rollout of this new hotel management system.
Support them? That was the brief.
That was the brief.
And yet a shocking number of candidates recommended disciplining or even firing staff who struggled with the new software.
The CEO says help them, and the analyst says fire them.
It's a complete failure of tone. If your objective is support and adoption, you don't lead with punishment. That just creates a culture of fear. It shows the candidate didn't actually read the intent of the prompt.
They just saw resistance to change and went to a textbook.
Right. Standard response is to push through, and if they don't unfreeze, get rid of them. It's robotic.
Yeah.
And it's destructive.
It's treating people like broken cogs.
Yes.
But the absolute peak of failing to read the room came in Task 3B. the Responsible Business Committee.
Oh, this one is painful. So the task was to create presentation slides for the board of directors.
Right.
The topic was setting up an ESG committee, environmental social governance. And the context was that the current board, well, they didn't have much experience in this area.
A very common problem.
Very common. But how do you tell your bosses they lack skills?
Carefully.
Very carefully. But these candidates, in their slides, which remember, are being presented to the board.
To their faces.
To their faces. They wrote things like, the current board is incompetent.
No. Please tell me they didn't actually use the word incompetent on a slide for the people signing their paychecks.
Oh, they did. The board lacks necessary competence. Or, my favorite, the directors are ignorant of ESG.
That is just career suicide.
It is. It proves you can be 100% right on the facts, they did lack the skills, and 100% fired for the delivery.
You have to be diplomatic.
You have to be. You say, the board would benefit from specialized expertise, or there's an opportunity to enhance our current skill set. You do not walk into a boardroom and call the directors incompetent.
It's just amazing. The technical point is correct, but the social failure just wipes it out completely.
And there was another mix-up, too, about what a responsible business committee even is. A lot of people just saw a business committee and ignored the word responsible.
So they started talking about occupancy rates and profits.
Exactly. They missed the ESG focus entirely. Again, it's about reading what is actually there, not what you expect to be there.
And that really feels like the big theme of this entire report.
It is.
You can be technically right. You can know the definition of gearing. You can know Lewin's change model. But if you apply it without context, without empathy, without professional awareness, you fail.
So if we boil all this down, success in this exam, and really in business, isn't about memorizing the textbook models.
No?
Models like Mendelow's matrix or Lewin's change model are just frameworks. They're empty boxes.
Yeah.
Your job is to fill them with the specific, messy, nuanced reality of the situation in front of you.
It's about application.
It is all about application. And it is about answering the specific question you were asked. If they ask about the acquisition, don't talk about clean sheets.
If they ask for support, don't talk about firing people.
And if they ask for skepticism, don't just ask questions. Give an informed opinion.
It sounds so simple, but literally thousands of people got this wrong.
Because it requires you to slow down.
Yeah.
It requires thinking before you write. And in a high-pressure environment, whether it's an exam hall or a boardroom, the gut instinct is to rush. The instinct is to just copy-paste.
And that brings us to our final thought for you, for the listener. And I want to make this a bit uncomfortable. When you're replying to that email today, or you're writing that proposal for next week, are you actually answering the specific problem that's on the table?
Or are you just copy-pasting the solution you think fits?
Are you analyzing the data or just reporting the numbers? Are you being a senior business analyst or are you being a robot? The choice is yours.
And please, whatever you do, don't call your board of directors incompetent.
Solid advice to live by. Thanks for diving in with us.
A pleasure.
See you on the next deep dive.